This is The Bridge, 99 FM, broadcasting to the Jamaican diaspora, to people who share a common blood, a common bond, a loving relationship with this land all over the world. We welcome you to the Public Eye. The Public Eye has an open mind. The Honorable Colonel Charles and myself talk about the affairs of the nation. We radiate the news and the views from the Rock to all our people everywhere, all over the world. It's a unique medium that has been developed to keep us all together. Thanks so much today because it's a special day, you know. We are at the 19th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, put on by the Jamaica Stock Exchange and so many of their collaborators. The theme this year is the drivers of capital, from concept to growth. We're looking at this in the context of national development, inclusive arrangements that will allow for the flourishing of all of our people, here and everywhere. Join us for the next 2 hours on The Bridge, 99 FM, for the Public Eye. Mr. Charles, we're privileged today.
We are very privileged. It looked just as if it was yesterday.
Yes?
In other words, just as if it was the first time we were here. Everything
Indeed.
looks the same.
And we're privileged to have a special guest, Dr. Marlene Street Forest. Welcome once again.
Thank you. It is good to be here.
And you're dealing with
afternoon.
these two senior gentlemen who have been watching the progress of the Jamaica Stock Exchange for so many years.
Yes, and has been with us and have helped us
Indeed.
along the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Dr. Marlene Street Forest, Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Now, just let's paint a picture. Who is here? There are people all around, people I gather from all over the world, from the business sector. I see young schoolers. Give us a word picture of what's going on.
It is really a melting pot of persons in the investment arena. We have captains of industry. We have persons from schools, as you say, children, the young people. We have investment advisors. We have those who want to invest in the capital market, and we have the persons who have capital to invest in companies. So it is a total, the entire embodies all.
Yes.
Yes.
Why have you chosen this theme this year, Dr. Street Forest, the drivers of capital, from concept to growth? Explain that idea for us.
Yes, it was important to look at, because capital and capital formation is important. And we now need to just delve into what creates that atmosphere to drive capital. What are the areas that you need really to consider in terms of having capital come to you, in having capital dispersed to the various persons? And I thought that it was important to delve into that.
And what are we finding? Many people look at the stock market this year and say, good past, hopeful future, but this year I'll invest in real estate or in some government security. Is that the mood?
If that's it?
Is that the mood?
That is the mood. And you know, you asked a really good question here, because that is the mood for some people. It is not the mood for all. And one of the driver of capital is market education.
Well, you know, that was the subject I had for Dr. Street Forest. Every year we talk about it. How are we going to acquaint our people more about the stock market, the investment in Jamaica? Particularly, Dr. Street Forest, please speak to the question of the people in the diaspora. They have savings, they have their navel string buried here.
Right.
You want them, don't you?
You really want them. You want, and really, what can unite people than that?
Yes.
It is a unifying force. So you want to educate people too that when the market is down, it's not out, because it is long term. So a driver must be market education. And another driver really dear to my heart is people. People drive capital. And so we need to educate our people, every aspect of our people, whether those who are going to be giving that advice, those who are going to be investing in the market, those who are coming for capital. That is what is going to count in the long-term sustainability.
I'm anxious that the people in the diaspora listening to us live, or those who will pick us up on their own time on the internet,
Yes.
get clear advice from you and from the other guests we have today. If they have an interest in investing in Jamaica, what do they do?
Yes, so if you have an interest in investing in Jamaica, naturally I would say call the stock exchange, right?
Yes, yes.
Call the stock exchange, because what we do, we put on various programs to say to people, this is the market, and I like to say, this is your market,
Yes.
right? And this is the businesses. It's not imaginary. These are companies that you know. Most of those in the diaspora, they know the companies. They eat the product, they buy the product, they live the product. So these are companies that have good results, that are in good corporate governance and all of that. So look into them. And when they call us, we will explain that. We'll explain something like, if you are saving with the company, and you're getting, because some of them still save,
Yes,
I'm running.
yeah.
If they're saving and they're getting 1%, if you buy the company, meaning a shareholder, you are getting more.
Yeah.
You are getting on the appreciation of the price of that stock, and you're also getting the dividend. So there is a value translated in being a part of the system.
Yes.
So we would say to them, call us.
Yeah.
We'll also say to them, we can put you on to our brokers.
Yes.
Right? And also for the stock exchange, we have the e-campus. So we have a campus, just to educate you, And we'll tell you the various programs that we feel would be best based on your level of education, not education, experience.
Pernell, when I was a student like you in the United States, I was exposed to a lot of Jewish students, yes? And they would tell me that it was considered the national responsibility of every person of Jewish lineage, that when they saved money, they were to put it in an entity, either a bank
Yes.
or a company
Yeah.
that had Israeli roots. I want us to have that kind of loyalty. What do you say, sir?
I think that what we have to do is to convince our Jamaicans and others abroad that their money will be safe when they invest in stocks in Jamaica.
Let Dr. Streetforest answer that.
Yes.
Can you give assurances? Do people who invest here lose money?
When persons invest in the stock exchange,
Yeah.
the value of the stock is where it is,
Obviously.
right? But a loss of what they have invested there is not. Because even I want to get into that, Ronnie, a little, because it's important.
Yeah.
Even where we have heard of certain cases, but when you disaggregate, we can clearly say to everyone that the investors and their accounts were not touched. Not those in the stock exchange.
You regulate that.
Yes, and we can say 100% that those were not affected.
Okay, that's important for us to hear.
Yes, it is important.
Yes.
It is important.
One of the things that I think is great is to see you inviting college students,
Yes.
high school students,
Yes.
particularly those in the economic field. And I think you should go into the workforce.
Yes.
I mean, somebody is pushing that you go into the workforce for your future. But I think stocks can be a great part of preparing for older days. or
Exactly.
days
So we
when you
do
need that return.
we do have workplace forum.
Yes.
We have the stock market game, and we have the stock market game for the tertiary.
Yes.
We have the stock market game for high school, and we have the stock market game for the public. It's a simulation, so
Yes.
they understand. But we will be this year having the stock market game for the primary school. How
Really?
do you like that?
No, that's marvelous. That's marvelous.
Marvelous.
Uh-huh.
Because we feel that we have to have it at every single level. Until we do that, we are going to be chasing our tails.
You know, I've always felt, and I know you agree, investing in common stock
Yes.
is the opportunity for the ordinary Jamaican who in history has always been kept out of the mainstream of the economy to round out the situation where a few own and and everybody else
Yes.
doesn't own. This is their opportunity to insert themselves. Am I right?
You are so right. And what is happening, you know? First, people had the impression that it is for the rich man. But it yes.
To let you know that the average man in Jamaica, when they talk about stocks,
Yes.
they say, oh, big man business.
Big man thing.
So when you get a small
Yes.
investor
Yeah.
reporting
Yes.
that he is comfortable, he's getting returns,
Yes.
then you get a
And he's
traction of
protected.
others.
Sure.
And he's protected. Yes.
We want to offer support from the bridge. We have this unique link to the diaspora all
Yes.
over the world, and we want to ensure that this way that Jamaicans can express their nationalism, that they can help to grow the country.
We take that on board wholeheartedly. We are at 20% now, coming from about 3 or 4% of persons, Jamaicans, investing in the market.
Really?
But yes.
That's important news.
Yes, it is getting, the word is getting
20%.
there. But we really have to accelerate that further, you know. So I welcome.
Indeed. And there'll be more.
Yes.
Dr. Marlene Street Forest, Managing Director.
Let's quickly tell the people that there's security around your investment.
Yes.
Because there's an international scamming business.
Yes.
Security in your
There is
investment. in there.
not only is there security around your investment, so don't take it from me. Take it from the fact that what we have done, we have created a client portal, a customer client portal that any time you want, you just log in and see your balance.
Wow.
Oh yes,
that's
we
amazing.
have that.
We have more to learn. Thank you
Yes.
so much for today. Blessings and good luck
It
for the
is a
conference.
pleasure.
Always.
Thank you very much.
Thank
as
you.
always.
Good. This is Marlene Street Forest. She's Dr. Marlene Street Forest, Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Marvelous lady, headed this institution for so many years and opening it up to the majority of people in Jamaica in a way that economic activity has never been available, investment prospects for the ordinary, the poor people of this land. We have a shift in our scheduled Purnell. Let's welcome Mr. Rob Cook, Senior Vice President for Market Development for the Canadian Securities Exchange. Welcome to Jamaica, Mr. Cook. Is this your first visit?
Oh no, I've been coming since I think 2017
To these conferences?
to this conference. Yes,
Oh, that's marvelous.
yes.
Really, that's what we want.
I enjoy it despite the weather.
Thank you, despite the weather. Thank you for keeping faith with Jamaica. It's important. What does tell us about the Canadian Securities Exchange? What do you do?
Well, the Canadian Securities Exchange was established in this millennium for small cap companies, primarily based in Canada. But we launched into a competitive environment where we have other stock exchanges that have been operating for well over 100 years and are well established, but we introduced competition to the market, and we've had substantial growth ever since then. This year we'll celebrate our 20th anniversary as a stock exchange.
Great. Why do you keep coming here?
I beg your pardon?
Why do you keep coming here to this conference in Jamaica?
I always seem to learn something at this conference. There's good speakers, it's a good agenda, and it's good to get outside of your own country and see how other people in the world think about capital markets, which is what this conference is all about. We have a very good relationship with the Jamaica Stock Exchange. We've had exchange of ideas on many occasions. We also welcome cross listings between markets.
Really?
Yes, which is which is a difficult hurdle for a lot of companies to get over. And it's something that we're still working towards.
There are about 300,000 and more Jamaicans, people of Jamaican origin, living in the Greater Toronto area.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I'm saying there are probably coming close to 500,000 people of Jamaican and Caribbean origin living in the Greater Toronto area. I'm wondering what the links can be with your exchange and the possibility of cross-listing, whereby they would feel the confidence of dealing with a Canadian institution, but investing in a Jamaican company. Is that
Right.
possible?
Yeah, listing a Jamaican company that's already public and trading in
Yes.
Jamaica on a Canadian exchange would give that diaspora easy access to investing in those companies.
That's very important for us to know.
It's not only easier, it's cheaper
Yes.
as well.
Okay, so that must be an ideal then that we want to achieve, particularly given your connection with the Jamaican
Yes.
Stock Exchange.
Yeah, and it's something that we're quite interested in promoting.
Okay.
Okay? And we believe it's in the best interest of the company itself.
Sure.
One of the things it does, by diversifying its shareholder base, it actually reduces its risk of volatility in its share price.
Okay, and it also speaks to one of the issues that my colleague, the Honourable Pernell Charles, raised with Mrs. Street Forest, that there's a sense of security because of the connection with the Canadian exchange, eh?
Yes, reasonable.
Yes.
But again, probably more because of the diversification of risk,
Yes.
than anything else. Yeah.
Are Canadian investors interested in the Caribbean? What kind of opportunities are they looking for? Just tourism, or are there other things as well, to your knowledge?
Yeah, most of them, only tourism is really on their radar screen. But, if you ask them, have you considered looking at businesses, industries, etc., in the Caribbean? They go, oh yeah, I guess that's a possibility, isn't it? So there are opportunities because, again, if the individual investor could easily diversify their own portfolio
Yes.
and invest in a business in a different country that's got a different growth rate, then that's another opportunity for them. There's a lot of noise that they have to penetrate through in order to get their story out there. It's one of the things we at the CSC try to encourage our companies to do, is to tell their story well, not just tell any old story trying to get people to buy their shares, but to really communicate well with the market about what they're doing, what they're achieving, how they are going to continue to grow and prosper.
So I ask you the question, when you come to these conferences every year,
Yeah.
are we telling our story well?
You're telling it well here.
Okay,
Yes.
tell me more.
Yeah.
But we need to do...
Well, I'm not an expert in international communications, but
No, but you know what's needed.
But you really need to spend some time in the other country.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons why I've come down here, more than once. Often saying very similar things, because repetition is important too.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So it takes some getting used to. Right?
Pernell-
And Canadians are fairly conservative in their investment choices.
Yes.
As well. So they're not just going to jump at the
No.
low-hanging fruit as soon as they see it.
But they have a bond with the Caribbean. Canadian people have a bond with the
Yes.
Caribbean.
Yes. Yeah, despite the weather.
This,
Yeah,
because of the weather.
they don't mind.
And there's another thing too that I'm thinking of, that the opportunity, this stock exchange
Yeah.
in Jamaica has had the ambition of having the annual conference in different countries.
Right.
They had one in Guyana 2 years ago, or last year.
Yes.
And why not let us project that if they came to Canada 1 year,
Right.
then that would help with the telling the story, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. And it's something that would attract interest, I believe.
Look at
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have, good experience too.
Yes.
I mean, they already have a very well-run conference here.
Well, that makes us happy to hear, because you come from an international
Yeah.
platform, and you're saying that we know what we're doing here,
Right.
but we need to enlarge our tents.
Right.
What do you think, Mr. Charles?
Well, it's interesting to hear what
Mr.
he
Cook.
has said in terms of you inviting Canadians, and particularly Canadian, Jamaican, and Caribbean roots, that there is a stock market in Jamaica, that they are in your market, but you can expand to Jamaica.
Right. So we actually, a few years ago, entered into an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding with the JSE, between the CSE, our exchange, and the JSE.
Good.
And one of the reasons we did that was because of our admiration, say, for the JSE, and the fact that we feel a kinship in that we are trying to do similar things,
Yes.
which is promote the growth of the companies and the capital market.
Yes.
We thought it would be in both of our interests to promote that idea that, hey, there is a way to cooperate between these two countries and between these two markets.
You do us a great honor by that. Let me tell you, because very often we feel that because of our size and our
Right.
history,
Yes.
we don't amount to much.
Right.
But here is it that the Canadian Securities Exchange is
Yeah.
prepared to say we want to be friends and
Right.
business partners.
Well, we
with you.
completely understand that, because, I mean, when we launched, we were tiny,
Yeah.
right? And right now we are approaching 800 companies,
Wow.
but we are still a small cap market by and large. Our
Uh-huh.
companies, on average, are much smaller than the ones that are listed on the big
On
board
the
in
main
Canada.
stock exchange, yes.
So, yeah, you always get people, well, you're small, you don't matter. Well, no,
But you do. You
small
come-
can be good.
Yes, and there's a critical mass, isn't there?
Right.
And there's something that Mr. Cooker said, Pernell, that I want to interrogate. You mentioned that you had an original emphasis on small cap businesses.
Yes,
That's what we have.
right.
Yes? So
Yeah.
therefore your experience in that regard can be very helpful and instructive for us here.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, the majority of our companies, we may consider them to be large, but by comparison by international comparison,
Right.
they're small companies.
Right.
Or medium size at best, eh? And therefore we need to be sure that we have all the best instruction, advice, connection that you offer.
Yes.
That's remarkable.
Yes. Right.
I'd just like to find out from you as to whether or not you, with your people on your stock market in Canada, whether it's in your interest or whether you would participate in saying to them, there is another market, right? What is your connection to the Jamaican market, that how it would benefit you if members in your stock market were encouraged to purchase in the Jamaican stock market?
Right. Well, there's two things that can benefit, and it's really always mutual, and that would be the cross-fertilization of investing in each other's marketplaces. So in order to do that, we need to find more and better ways to create access through
Sure.
the investment dealer community, et cetera, and so on, to have regulatory
Synergy.
arbitrage kind of eliminated through better understanding.
Yes.
And then the actual fact of the cross listings of companies from Canada listing in Jamaica and from Jamaica listing in Canada.
There's a great future ahead of us, sir. We thank you for the partnership.
Right.
The Canadian people have an extraordinary relationship with us in the Caribbean. We consider the friendship very, very precious. You don't ask us to fly your flag and to accept your your ways, but you just accept us as we are, common history and common ideals. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Much appreciated.
Mr. Rob Cook is the Senior Vice President for Market Development at the Canadian Securities Exchange in Canada. He joins us. He offers us potential for international connection. Members of the diaspora living in Canada, listen to the Bridge 99 FM and the Public Eye. We're with the Jamaica Stock Exchange today. It's a maelstrom of activity, and we're moving towards all of these efforts that can enhance economic growth and personal welfare. We'll soon be back on the Bridge 99 FM. This is the Public Eye. We have an open mind. The Honorable Colonel Charles, Order of Jamaica, is the host. I'm Ronnie Thwaites, been doing this for a long time. The purpose today, we're at the Jamaica Stock Exchange's annual conference. Their theme is the drivers of capital from concept to growth. And I believe that Mr. Angus Young recently translated from Trinidad and Tobago to be the CEO of NCB Capital Markets, is one of the drivers of capital. Hello, Mr. Young, and welcome to Jamaica.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Thank you for a warm welcome.
I'm teasing you, you know. NCB's directions, NCB's impulses play a very, very significant role as the largest bank in Jamaica.
Correct.
For the progress of the economy and the fate of the people.
Absolutely.
How do you tell us about the NCB Capital Markets? Are you just for big people and for companies of high pedigree? What's your focus?
Absolutely not. NCB is a people's bank. NCB, it is very hard to do business in Jamaica and in the region and not have some touch point to the NCB Financial Group.
You hear that?
Yep.
Wow.
Given how broad we are throughout
Yes.
the English-speaking Caribbean and the Dutch-speaking Caribbean through our Fathom franchise, through our holdings in Guardian, the insurance conglomerate.
Remind our people, I don't think many people remember, that NCB bought out Guardian.
Well, NCB
Or is a major
would have
shareholder.
acquired circa 62% of Guardian Holdings Limited, which is one of the largest insurance conglomerates in the English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean.
And remember that Guardian had Trinidadian roots.
Yes.
Mr. Lockjack and others.
That's correct.
And then now NCB seeing the benefit of that and its regional reach.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What we would have done is we would have taken very, very deliberate strategy a couple years ago to become a pan-Caribbean institution. And we made significant investments in investment-grade territories. Our shareholding in Guardian is one of those. It has made us a true pan-Caribbean institution, and it also fits into our mantra of being best in class, and of course making sure that whatever products and services we offer to the public go through a rigorous and robust risk management and governance system, so our end clients benefit from that expertise.
Let me take you wide before bringing you back to your particular company, because, you know, on this program, both of us are retired government ministers. Sometimes we doubt the potential of pan-Caribbean economic activity.
Right.
You are incarnating it.
Well, first of all, I do believe that Caribbean people are amongst the most talented people in the world. So if you look at talent per capita in sports, in intellect, we are one of the highest talented people in the world. So that transcends now into our institutions. So
It should.
absolutely. So institutions like NCB,
Both of us are graduates and veterans of the Federation, you know.
there you go. So you're,
Okay,
you're
so-
giving away your age now.
Yeah, indeed. But what we're anxious to know is the role of an institution like yours.
Sure.
To cobble together again that natural unity which you
Sure.
speak of.
Absolutely, absolutely. So think of all the different Caribbean islands as being very similar but very different at the same time. What bonds us, we're indigenous to our regions. We don't have a parent, so to speak, to backstop on. We have to look after each other. And it's better if we do that together.
And the world thinks of us as one.
Absolutely. But the issue really is each island has its own nuances. Cultural nuances, regulatory nuances. What we have to do is we have to streamline the way we transfer capital throughout the region to build scale. What does that mean? It means that together we could achieve a lot more than the sum of the parts. And for us,
We can achieve more
together
than the sum of
the
our
parts. That's right.
Yeah, that's a theme that we need to emphasize, isn't it? Yeah, that's a theme for your entity as well as for all of us.
That is what we do. We mobilize capital throughout the region, and we want to do it in a streamlined fashion to build scale. So, for example, the Jamaican environment is very different to the Guyanese environment at this point in time. Similarly, Trinidad environment is very different, but they're all flooded with opportunity. So you have to find those institutions that are plugged into each region, that understand the region, and that could bridge those gaps to have capital flow.
I have to pause. Hear what the man said, Pernell? That all of these island economies, nations, he used the word flooded with opportunity. The majority of Jamaicans listening to us, or Caribbean people, not sure about that, you know. They've probably had to go abroad in order to achieve opportunity. Now you're saying there's nothing wrong with that.
Money is there. The mobilization of capital from all the island into this body that you're talking about.
So if I do my job well, that will happen. Because what we do as an investment bank is mobilize capital throughout the regions, right? So opportunities will attract capital. But you have to navigate many domestic nuances, cultures, regulations to make that capital flow. So when you deal with a pan-Caribbean institution, it's going to be very important that you deal with one that is trusted, that is one is best in class, one that sticks to the fundamentals, that when they bring something to the table, it's been through a framework of governance and risk management.
What is your role here at this conference?
Every territory that NCB operates in, we get involved on the ground. So we have a vested interest in developing the domestic markets everywhere we work. So we get involved in conferences in Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and as in recent times, Guyana. Because influencing how domestic capital markets develop is a big part of our mantra. When I say influence, assist in the development of these markets in the right ways by leveraging our experience.
The international financial organizations paint a very commendable picture of the Jamaican economy and some other Caribbean entities.
Yes.
But the people of the region largely don't feel this.
Well, I think fact is fact. So I'll give you one fact. Jamaica is rated BB.
Yes.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is rated BBB minus, I believe.
Yeah.
So one is investment grade, one is sub-investment grade.
Yes.
Do you know that the international bonds trade around the same yield?
Really?
Yes. So what does that tell you? That tells you there's a large degree of confidence in Jamaica.
Oh, that's good.
So it's Jamaica is on the right trajectory. You guys will, we will approach a debt to GDP in the 70s in short order.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
It is.
You know, Jamaica is a very sophisticated environment, and with that sophistication brings efficiencies in the markets, and I think that will bring investment.
Is the axis of Caribbean economic growth turning towards Guyana now in a way that perhaps and not so much to other territories like ours?
Right. So I think there's growth potential in all territories. Guyana is just an outlier. Guyana is doing 30% plus growth in GDP every year.
And we're doing 1.5.
Yes, but it's at a different stage in life, and it's also driven by a different commodity.
Yes.
You know, what Guyana has are oil reserves.
I'm just concerned about the flow of capital.
The flow of capital.
Yes.
So Guyana, to extract its full potential, will partner with external investors.
Yes.
That is the way that they will scale their access to fuel and get involved in that exponential growth.
Yes.
So Guyana is very open and willing to partner with external investors to make sure that they develop in the right direction.
Let me give you a challenge. My interest is that every Jamaican, every Caribbean person living abroad who is listening to us on this program at their convenience, every time they think of an investment opportunity, they should think of the Caribbean.
Absolutely.
They should perhaps think of your organization.
Absolutely. I thank you for that. So why? Why would you say that? Because you're going into different territories.
Yeah.
You have to leverage the expertise and the knowledge that the Pan-Caribbean institution has in each of those territories. That's how you gain access. You leverage Pan-Caribbean institutions who are tried, true, and tested, and to be able to gain access to those foreign institutions, foreign territories.
Let me say something. If I were interviewing you, you could take away everything I have. The brilliance, your youth, and the presentation, the nationalist presentation of the Caribbean is what I am interested in. Because without the politics, I'm glad that the money involvement, the capitalist involvement is still there.
You should know also that we come from two very different political parties.
Is that right?
Yes.
I could not tell.
No, you pay us a compliment. But let me ask you a pointed question. Speaking to the diaspora now, how do they interact with you? What is the market education? What is the thrust to diaspora that NCB Capital Markets?
So this program, for example,
Yes.
is no coincidence. It's called Bridge, I would assume.
Yes.
Because you're bridging a gap.
Indeed, that's
you're
why it
bridging
is.
an information gap. You're bridging a knowledge gap.
Yes.
You're bridging access. Right? So with institutions like you guys who bridge that gap, and institutions like NCB who are facilitators in that regard, we can mobilize capital to come back into the region.
Yes. And offer reasonable return instead of them getting negative returns on investment in some frigid atmosphere in US or England.
Well,
Come here and you're likely to do much better, and you're safe.
Absolutely. So you're safe when you deal with reputable, robust, tried, true, and tested institutions.
Yes.
That's very, very important.
Welcome to Jamaica once again. Thank you so much for being with us. We want to talk to you more and more to encourage that objective, which is yours and ours.
Thank you,
to
gentlemen.
Make sure that we can flourish with our own resources.
Leadership is very important, and your presentation is super important.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Thank you very much.
All the
gentlemen.
best.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Angus Young,
Pleasure to meet you.
Trinity Jamaican CEO of NCB Capital Markets. This is the Public Eye on the Bridge 99 FM. Charles and Thwaites talking about the opportunities for investment. This is the Jamaica Stock Exchange 19th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference at the Pegasus Hotel. We soon come back. Broadcasting to the world, broadcasting to Jamaicans and Jamaican lovers, wherever you find yourselves. Hello, Ms. Donna Hermal, welcome.
Good afternoon.
And thank you very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here.
May I introduce the Venerable Honorable Colonel Charles OJ, who is the co-host.
Honorable Colonel Charles.
Look
nice
at
to
him
meet you
beaming.
again.
I wish we had a camera. Donna Hermal.
You're suggesting that we resemble each other?
Oh no, I'm suggesting that your face is like a Cheshire cat.
Well, who wouldn't have a like
Exactly.
Have a lady like this?
Senior manager.
Two stalwarts of Jamaican
Well,
soil.
indeed, thank you.
Yes.
Senior manager at C&W Business.
Yes.
C&W Business has been one of the long-term sponsors of this conference. Why?
Indeed, it is. So, as the preferred service provider in Jamaica, and we have a very solid network infrastructure and the people behind it, then we thought it would just be prudent for the stock exchange and what they are trying to achieve as they advance digital technologies across the financial sector. Then what better person to partner with than with Cable and Wireless?
Tell us what you're
Jamaica.
offering to the investors, to the capital markets here.
Right. So for today, we are the internet provider. So all
Great.
of the infrastructure, the streaming, that's what we're offering today. But outside of this, because our network is solid and robust, the persons who are here, the companies who are participating, we are also their technology provider. So we range from our connectivity to cloud services, cybersecurity. These are also our customers that we provide service to.
No, I'm scratching my head because the people who I recognize here are in a variety of different enterprises. They're not
Right.
all just banks or financial houses. There are all kinds of people. The small business persons to the left of us here, they're school children. Are you able to customize a service for each of them?
Definitely we do, and that's how we serve our customers. So at Cable and Wireless Business, we range from our large enterprise and government. We are very strong in the government space as well, in the financial sector, and we also have our small and medium enterprise. And our the services we offer are tailor-made to those persons, different segment. Also, the way we are structured to support them, we have teams that deal with those different segments.
Okay. Are we at international standard for the provision of telecommunications and digital services? Is that something we can say to our audience? Look here, come to Jamaica, and this is going to be available to you. That we'll match your standards wherever you're coming from.
Oh, definitely, and I'm happy you asked that, because a segment I didn't mention earlier was our BPO, our business process outsourcing.
Really?
And all these large enterprises you see set up here, we are providing them with services. We have our subsea fiber that links us right back into the hub in Miami.
This is the
undersea fiber
cable that was introduced some years ago.
Yes.
And provides the hardware.
Yes, the connectivity right back to our partners in the United States. But also with our services, you asked earlier if they're up to international standards. And yes, they are. We continue to lead in technology advancement and the digital space through the services. So we're in cloud services. So, you know, persons don't have to set up their own data center locally. We have our data center across the Caribbean. Actually, we operate not just in Jamaica, we operate across the Caribbean in 13 Caribbean countries. And the connectivity, if you're a local company, a local bank, we also provide that kind of connection to get you back into your Caribbean counterparts.
Well, could I tell you something, Ronnie? The bridge is doing something for me personally today.
Yes.
And I'm sure many others. Because people like this woman, we have not been hearing from them the value that they are presenting here today.
And the depth of economy.
And it's not only Jamaica.
Yes.
You're now talking to Jamaicans and other
Caribbean people
around the world.
Yes.
And maybe I just say, you take a little advertisement, say some of that to us in Jamaica, that we can know of you better than you're doing here today.
Yes, I agree. And we will be doing a lot more of that this year on our CNW business side. I know you have been familiar with our consumer brand, which is Flow, and also our SME brand, which is Flow Business, but the cable and wireless business that caters to the large enterprise and government. For this year, as you said, in terms of our marketing and publicity, we'll be doing more of that. Because sometimes Jamaicans don't realize that even the access when you go to your ABM to get your cash, we are the network behind that. We connect these machines for the banks. So there's a lot of message that we need to put out there this year so that the ordinary person on the street can understand.
So we can know who to congratulate and who to
criticize and hold to account
if they necessity.
If they need. That's very important for us to know. Just to explain something for me, you spoke of Flow, which many of us know, as your consumer division.
Yes.
I did not know of that hierarchy of relationships. CW Business is for big business,
large enterprises. And government. And in our small and medium enterprise space, as you said, there was a wide cross-section of persons here today. For small and medium enterprise space, and we have our Flow Business brand. But the cable and wireless organization that everybody are familiar with, most of Jamaica, that still exists. That is our standard company, our registered company, and we have the 3 different brands that operates under cable and wireless.
I have 2 questions for you quickly.
Yes.
First of all, who tell me about the people you work with. Tell me about the technical skills that you need. There's been a suggestion in Jamaica that many people have heard that we don't have enough qualified people to take us to the high levels of, for example, telecommunications.
Yes.
What's your experience?
No, so that's one of the things we pride ourselves in as an organization, the experience of our team. And the experience range from our engineers, very solid, well trained, and we have ongoing training programs, so they are, on top of the technology and what we're offering.
Local people?
Local people.
This is a trade unionist, This is a trade unionist.
Yes, and he will be happy to know that.
Yeah.
Local people, well-trained people, and of course we have our international
Sure.
partners.
To teach and to lead.
Yes.
And to transfer technology.
Right. So we have, I mean, it requires a certain skill set too in the technical areas, but we are proud to say we have been able to attract a very robust team, not just technically, but persons who come with other customer service skills, wide variety of skills. Because it's a large organization and everybody coming together to make it happen for our customers.
Okay, satisfied. So the big elephant in the room now, Ms. Donna, what about is the right of privacy protected in our Constitution dead for our companies and for our individuals? What about cybersecurity? Is that a concern of your companies?
Oh, cybersecurity, we are one of the partners with organizations that can help you to build out your cybersecurity. For example, you know the Data Protection Act that's in place. So a lot of organizations now are trying to get their data protection officer on board. We can offer that services as cable and
Really?
wireless business. Yes, we do. And what is important, we find in the cybersecurity and the threats, so we help to guide customers. Internally, we also employ those cybersecurity policies and practices because, as you understand, we have access to customer information as well. But one of the things we do and we encourage our customers to do as well is to have a lot of cybersecurity awareness. This is just not somebody going on and do training. Yes, we do the training, but the ongoing policies to put in place.
Because this is an evolving field, you know.
Evolving field and the risks.
Yes.
Because every day while we are sitting here
Yeah,
having this
somebody else- yes,
conversation,
indeed.
somebody is
Somebody
trying
is-
to attack.
Indeed.
So we have to ensure, but we are the provider. If somebody is listening and they want to know how they go about, just foolproofing their network, access to customer information, access to their business information, then we are here as a partner that they can reach out to and we can help them in that process.
Here's what is our objective
Yes.
on this station and this program particularly, is to reach out to all of our people living abroad,
Yes.
all those who are interested in us even if they don't come from us.
Right.
And to say, this is a place that is worthy of your trust, of your investment. There are institutions like your company
Yes.
and others where you're going to be safe, where people understand what the modern technology is, and that we're not some backwater. We can deliver. Is that
Definitely.
can you give me an assurance? Can you give them
Definitely
an
we
assurance?
can, and the standards we employ are international standards. We are governed by that as well, and it's just making sure that all the pieces that come together, the people, the processes, and the infrastructure are in place, especially when it comes on to cybersecurity. Because they say the greatest risk may be internal, and sometimes it's not just an employee or someone being malicious. It's just, for example, clicking on a link innocently, and that's how you will put your organization at risk.
But then I'm sure there's one question we have to end with.
Yes.
You're too dear. We can't afford you. All you're offering is just beyond the pocket of the small business person in Jamaica. Are there programs and prospects that are tailored to people's size, to people's economic ability?
Definitely there are. We tailor-made the solutions, and not only the solutions, the pricing. So if you're a small business or a large business, but you don't want to outlay all of this capital one time to take on a solution, we can work out a monthly model for you. So over time, you can pay for these services. And once you're on one of our, we call them our managed services, you leave the headache to us. The service is up and running. We do the maintenance, we do the support, and you just pay for it monthly. If something breaks, that is our problem. We get it fixed for you. So it's small, medium, large. We are here to support all businesses in Jamaica, and on the consumer side, all our consumers as well.
What a good story, Mr. Charles, as we part.
I just to tell you this. It's all good for us to hear it today.
Yes.
I didn't know it yesterday. Why I didn't know it yesterday? Because you weren't saying it yesterday.
Well, not in our forum anyway.
So
Yeah.
not at the level where we should be.
Yes.
So you need to add one little thing to your present position, apart from beautiful and apart from beautiful expressions.
Flattery will get you
need
everywhere.
to just say, how do you say to all who losing the links?
Yeah.
This down. Who do they talk to? You need to.
And
All right.
we'll be your partners in that regard.
Appreciate it, and we really thank you for that feedback. And as we go through this year, you will see further strengthening in how we share the message and in how we support all the infrastructure and make sure our customers are happy.
Thank you so much. Happy to have interviewed
Bless
you.
Thank you.
Donna Humans
Take care.
is the senior manager at C&W Business. We are showing all of the services that can buttress investment, that can make Jamaica a flourishing economy, that can encourage people to put their savings here. Much obliged to you. It's time for the break. We'll be back on the bridge with more from the Jamaica Stock Exchanges Conference after this. Stay tuned. Welcome, Mr. James McCletchy.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you, Executive Vice President and Group CFO of the Massey Group. We had Mr. Warner last year, I
Yep.
think, and we're glad to welcome you.
Thank you very much.
Good. Why is Massey here?
Massey's here because Jamaica is an important part of our global market structure. Our current
We're
market
so glad.
structure.
It wasn't always,
Well,
but
it needs to be more.
you've recently adopted us,
Yeah.
and we're happy for the engagement.
Yeah.
And you say it needs to be more.
It needs to be more. I was saying earlier in a couple of meetings that I plan to be here every quarter.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Massey has a special anniversary coming up, doesn't it?
Last year, 100
Last year.
years.
Yes, 100
100
years.
years.
And give us a few sentences of history. You've grown from essentially a family.
Exactly. Two entrepreneurs
Yes.
100 years ago came
Neil
together,
and Massey.
basically forced together by the bank.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Really?
Yeah, forced together, one of the local banks in Trinidad,
Trinidad.
forced together by the bank.
Uh-huh.
And over time accumulated into what the classic Caribbean conglomerate. Right?
I wish it were classic James McCletchy. No, that's the point. Because something that I want to put to you and begin to recognize is that many people listening to us, in fact, we ourselves on this program, have wondered about the Caribbean enterprise, its possibility. Because we have so much in common, but we take so many occasions to split up and do separate and contradictory
yeah.
things. Your entire business is the antidote to that?
Is to bring it together. But can I explain a little bit of even the evolution?
We
now
want you to.
You'll hear us talk about Massey's now shifted from a conglomerate to an investment holding company, right? Focused on 3 portfolios.
Yes.
And the reason is why when you got a conglomerate with 20, 30 businesses, they are at scale in the Caribbean, they are at scale in Trinidad. But when you get big enough, they're not at scale globally.
Yes.
So what we did is we sold about 300 million worth of assets, and we will reset that scale into 3 platform businesses.
Remind me of those 3.
And those 3 businesses, there's a food, retail, and distribution business.
Yes.
Right?
Traditional.
There's a gas
Gas
business,
one, yes.
and that's essentially industrial gases
Yes.
and medical gases,
And?
oxygen, for example.
Uh-huh.
And then the last one is the motors and machinery
yes.
business.
Mhm.
And why that's important, especially for the diaspora, is it gives you scale to go into global markets,
Yes.
to actually create value and become a stronger, high growth stock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the 100 years is about resilience. The last couple of years, you can see that by focusing those 3 businesses and empowering the leadership of those businesses,
Well, there's been a surge.
you've been a search.
Yes.
You unleash people's capability.
What
to
has
take those to
been the
market.
experience of your tenure in Jamaica so far?
Say it again?
What has been the experience of your tenure in Jamaica so far?
No, so in terms of the listing,
Yes.
yeah, if you look at the last 12 months' performance,
Yeah.
I think the JSC has had some challenges. We
It
all
has.
know. So I think it's down 8% this year.
Uh-huh.
At least our financial year.
Yes.
Our stock has been up on the JSC 17%.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's
You
a
got
back-
that, sir? Generally a decline, or yes, but this company, a surge.
Yeah.
Security that is good for you, or what?
Sorry.
Is it security that is good for you?
Yeah, it is a strong, stable.
Because the Jamaican is afraid security is his problem.
Yes.
So if you have a company that can guarantee or influence us sufficiently to come in, to invest, to be a part of, because it is secure, that's
Absolutely. I mean, I go back to the 3 core businesses. If you look at the history of our dividend paying, we constantly paying dividends, including through the pandemic.
No, that's very important.
And we continue to do that.
Yeah, people who invest want return on their income,
Yeah.
and they want it at regular intervals. Yes, and that's very important. the sense that I have is that once interest rates abate, the stock market, certainly in Jamaica, is going to surge again.
And return to equities.
Yes. Do you see that?
We expect the same. And that's why the conversation we were having just before you is I'm trying to understand, if I had to be honest and take our blame for it, Massey's not probably well understood as an investment in the market. We've only crossed this 2 years ago.
Yes, that's it.
And we need to be a little more present on calls like this to explain. Because at the end of the day, it's a fundamental, strong stock, resilient, long-standing, will pay dividends. We have to share that story with everyone.
But you're doing it now. But be pointed in your remarks. We are talking to Caribbean people living abroad, who we want to say to them, rather than investments in some company and country where that's good always, but we want you to return to where you're born, to where you have a love. Yes.
So Ron, I'm going to be even very personal.
Yes.
I left Trinidad 25 years ago.
Really?
I only returned 4 months ago. Right? And I would love to have known about stock that you could participate in that is from your heart and soul.
Sure.
Right?
And Jamaica Stock Exchange has done very well in previous years.
Exactly.
Yes, rated highly.
Yeah.
Yes. So we want to say to them, this is a worthwhile locus for your investment. Yes?
Absolutely. So I'll give you another stat.
Please.
Have you run the analysis for our 12 months last performance against the S&P? We've outperformed the S&P as well. And when you strip...
You hear that, sir? They have outperformed Standard & Poor's.
Yeah, and when you and Standard & Poor's, if you strip out what they call the Big Seven, right?
Sure.
The Microsoft and Apple, you strip that out. The S&P is not a major. So once again, it's a solid, resilient stock, strong fundamentals, focused portfolios. But the one thing I have to remind as well, Massey's ambition is to be a high-performing stock, a high-performing company that does good. You'll hear us talk about that Caribbean heart.
Yes.
Right? I've told you I left Trinidad 25 years ago. My friends who are not Trinidadians or West Indians, they always remind me, you all take this Caribbean way, this nice way of doing things for granted.
Yeah.
And we do. So our view is that we can be not only high performing financially, but just good people.
Well, we that's what we want to be.
And that's how we as Caribbean people.
Indeed. And tell me now, are you going to stick with those three platforms, those three foci, or do you see some expansion of them?
I think for the foreseeable future, what we've done is pick these three that we know really, really well.
Yeah.
We will buy into those three, creating more scale, and that scale will be relevant in bigger markets like global markets. And that is where for the foreseeable future, those are the three portfolios
you
we'll continue to invest
have cross-listed in Jamaica from Trinidad.
Yep.
We were earlier interviewing the Mr. Cross from the Canadian Securities. We wonder what's the potential for Caribbean companies to cross-list, because that increases the sense of security.
Absolutely.
And the diversification.
Yeah. One of the things I'm working on now, it's not finished yet, probably about the next month or so, is a capital market story that reflects how international stock exchanges and capital sources will look at our stock. Because we talk about it as we talk to Caribbean people, but international stock exchanges look at it slightly differently. So that is one of the things we're working on. Once we work through that, we will be talking and looking at investments outside or sources of capital outside of the region.
You know, Pernell and I took different views years and years ago about the West Indies Federation. I now accept that we went about it the wrong way. We went about it top down. It is companies like yours. It is the economic sinews that we stitch together that can realize the Caribbean unity that eluded us then. Do you think?
And I think the whole beauty of it is that Caribbean heart has economic value.
Yes.
You know, people like to work. When we go up, when we bought a company in Florida, they like it too.
Yes.
We own companies in Colombia. They like it too.
Yes.
But I will tell you that I think we did not push capital sufficiently. We pushed politics more than capital. That will bring personal
more than
upliftment to everybody.
Yes.
So only people feel only a few was being uplifted politically. But in the stock market and you are investing in it, then everybody is growing. And maybe that's one of the little
And
mistakes.
everybody has a joint and collective interest, which makes a difference.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
wish you well, sir.
Thank you
And
so
we
much.
want to
Thanks
be
for
part,
having me
we
in
want to be
Jamaica.
part of putting the
Excellent.
message across so
will.
that the diaspora can, in fact, understand and have the confidence.
Because I wish when
To
I was
invest.
there, I was listening to you also. I know what to do.
We'll remake that. All the best to
Absolutely.
you.
Thanks again,
Good.
Ronnie. Thanks again.
James McCletchy is the Executive Vice President and Group Chief Financial Officer of the Pan-Caribbean Massey Group. You hear the lessons that we're learning? These are so important. We're on the bridge, 99 FM, and on the internet. We are covering the Jamaica Stock Exchange 19th Annual Conference. The theme is the drivers of capital from concept to growth. And hello, Mrs. Michigan McLeod-Hines. Welcome.
Hello, welcome.
Thank
Thanks
you very
for having
much.
me. Thank you
yes.
for having me.
Yes, that's good. And we introduce the Vice President for Capital Markets for Sagicor.
Yes.
Yes, what are we doing? Yes, I'm following you. I'm following you. Yes, of course. Tell us why you're here.
So I'm here because I'm representing Sagicor Investments at the Jamaica Stock Exchange Conference. I am one of the panelists on one of the topics that they have today. I'm actually going on right after this at 2.
So tell
I'm going to be talking about investor confidence.
Give us a prips of what you're going to say.
Well, the topic is reassuring, how do we reassure investors regarding their confidence in the capital markets? So it's a panel of 4 persons. Sagicor has one of the panel sessions, and we're going to be talking a lot about that.
Is
so
there
it's
a
really
gap in confidence, you think, among people? Pernell has been insisting that security is one of the main concerns of the Jamaican investor.
So I wouldn't call it a gap, but there has been a significant reduction in the amount of investments that come to the market, whether it is stemming from low investor confidence because of all that happened during the pandemic. Some companies actually haven't rebounded as yet. Some have significantly rebounded, but some haven't. And because of that, some investors are actually staying short and postponing investments until the capital markets rebound. So there is...
Is that a sensible investor reaction? Do you see it changing?
It's a rational human reaction. Yes. Yes, there's thing.
Yes, and therefore, how do you see it changing, though? My thought is that with interest rates receding.
Well, now is a
over
good
time
time for investors to
buy.
invest because interest rates are actually trending up.
Yes.
So now is a good time to invest. The stock market, however, a lot of persons are not jumping in because most companies have been flat over the last couple of years, especially since the pandemic. But now is actually a good time for investors to consider fixed income opportunities, for example, corporate bonds.
But that will change. That will evolve back, you think, into other into more interest in equities later on.
Yes, I think later on if interest rates reduce,
Yeah.
perhaps within, there's no way to call it. Some persons have an outlook of 12 to 18 months,
Yes.
but you really don't know. But usually when the fixed income rates are down, we do have more investments or, persons channeling their monies into the stock market.
If I had the privilege of coming into your seminar and asking you a question, I would want to ask you, dividend policy is critical to investor confidence, isn't it?
It is. It is one of the things that investors take into consideration when it is that they're considering buying a stock. Yes, but also capital appreciation is something that's important as well. So it really depends on, what the company that you're looking to invest in is going to be doing with the funds that you're going to give them, and how will those funds be able to propel the company and expand their business. And usually, when businesses expand, then investor confidence increases, and then therefore, you may see a change in the stock price. So persons or investors really benefit from investing in stocks in 2 ways, not just dividends, that's one way, but then also capital appreciation.
The small investor, and we're really interested in on this program, both of us, given our backgrounds, 2 things. One, to get the diaspora people committed
board,
to investing
yes.
in Jamaica.
Agreed.
And we want to partner with you on that. And secondly, to bring in the small investor. Yes, Mishka, to the person who has $5,000. Yes?
Yes.
Doesn't have 5 million, but we want to bring him into the core of the Jamaican economy through companies like Sagicor Investments, because otherwise he feels alienated, he feels the inequality, he feels excluded.
But he shouldn't, because there are opportunities for him if it is that he only has $5,000
can
as
start
well.
with
I
that.
can think of 2 immediate opportunities.
Tell me.
The first one is Sagicor Sigma Global Funds. It doesn't take a lot to start. It really takes 1,000 Jamaican in order to start, and we have approximately 18 funds within which that person can invest in. That's one. And two, he can also invest directly into the stock exchange. He can't buy every single stock that's on the market. However, the minimum amount required is 100 units of a stock. So it really depends on what the stock price of that stock is that he wants to go in.
But he can get a start.
Yeah, man, he can definitely start.
Graduation present for some of the high school
Absolutely.
students.
We also do have certificates that he can get as well. So we give gift certs. So if it is that you do want to,
Benefit somebody.
Encourage somebody to start investing, then come into Sagicor Investments. We're located, we have about 15 locations across the island. I'm at 85 Hope Road, so you can always come up to us and we can get that gift cert for you for $5,000 so that you can gift it to somebody to start on their journey, or you can always start it yourself.
That's what we want to see happen. More and more people investing in the real economy of Jamaica. This means that they become tethered here, they have a sense of belonging which they didn't have before, and as you say, it opens up the door to capital appreciation and to income, which passive income, which they haven't had.
Yes.
No,
yes.
That's good. What do you say, Mr. Charles? A worthy message?
Well, I just want to tell you that I think the food distributors, the eaters of food, right?
Yes.
Are doing a better job than the investors of capital. Now, when you look at Ronnie, when you look at
him, it is the only man who could say that, you
see, when you look at how the food distributors, the food eaters are advertising. I don't hear you, and then I could really.
We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on it. I'm gonna have a conversation with marketing today, and I'm gonna say that we're not out there enough, and we are going to step up significantly more because we also need to educate the public in terms of back to the question you asked that it's not a lot. So perhaps
the important thing is when you advertise, it must educate.
Yes, advertise and definitely educate,
and not the laugh. You're advertising to a man who have some money put down. So, well, here's somebody as beautiful as you are. I want to come back and hit me with good advertisement.
What a difference it would be if people who go abroad and make something, who Jamaicans, Caribbean people who go abroad and make something, they send the barrel, they send the school fees, but they send something to invest. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be that would.
That's something that they should do as well. I mean, they do remittances as well. That's also significantly high. So remittances come in, but they should also, a piece of that amount that they're sending through remittance, they need to, tell the person that they need to invest.
The remittances are larger for consumables.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
No, that's understandable given the nature and what people need. But if they understand the need to contribute, they can bemoan and do a demonstration about how things aren't so good in Jamaica. But the way to make it good is to invest.
Is to invest.
To be secure.
We do need to make money on top of our money. It's good to save, but it's also different to invest.
Can I tell you? Once you convince somebody that security is there, not some scam man that's going to take their money, and that they're going to get some improvement on it, you're way ahead.
That's what Sagicor, I think, no need to gild your lily, but that is what you offer. I mean,
right, and that's actually something that we're going to be talking about right after this session is restoring investor confidence in the capital markets.
Yes.
Because we do need investors to be confident about where they're putting their money in order to invest.
Yes,
and don't forget, Ronnie, that there's a small group that I represent. Small, but is the largest. In other words, the smaller owners of capital can be convinced that they can grow. They can come in
and that they're part of this.
John Ronnie, so that they can big like.
Well, what we do for you, Pernell, like what we do for all of our clients that come into us is that we have a sit down with them and we go through what their goals are, and then we advise them on how to get to those goals.
And it doesn't cost them to do that.
It doesn't cost them anything to do that. You just need to visit one of our locations at Sagicor Investments.
For those who come into you, I want you to go out for something.
What an evangelist
Absolutely.
this man is. Mr. McLeod-Hines, thanks so much. Make a good presentation. I think we've prepped you properly for it. Vice President for Capital Markets at Sagicor. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Good. This is the Bridge 99 FM. We are the Public Eye, Colonel Charles and myself, covering the 19th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference 2024, the drivers of capital from concept to growth. What a range of different people, of different efforts that we are showing. What do you think of the people we have had so far?
Yeah, I'm frightened about one thing.
Yeah.
I'm a reader. I read for hours.
Yeah, good.
A lot of what I'm hearing
You're
today,
learning it for the first time.
I'm hearing for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm being convinced
Yeah.
for the first time
Yes.
that there is a security, an investment for everybody. It's not just a big man market. You follow me? And then to go out there and bring them in.
But let me ask you, let me put the ideological and a practical question to you. We come from different, perhaps different ideological foundations. My view is that of its very nature, it's not a criticism, it's a description, of its very nature, capitalism is, if I say exploitative, it's in not in a pejorative sense, but it concentrates on those who have money and can turn money. Yes? My willingness to be part of an exposition like this at the stock market is because of just what we were talking about. That with information that you are craving, the worker who Pernell Charles represented for years can put some money if he gets for a bonus. When Auntie Roach sent him something from New York.
Yeah, but Randy, to join the point.
Yeah.
When you say to a person, I have a market for you.
Yeah.
What is a market?
Yeah.
It's a market here that sell or purchase.
Yeah.
And if you sell, you make profit.
Yeah.
If you purchase, you might buy it at a cheaper, you still make profit.
Yeah.
What they're not selling is a capital market, not capitalism.
Yeah.
But capital in which you sell
Yeah.
or you buy
Yeah.
or you improve
Yeah.
either you benefit for food or more money.
Well, hear me now. When I drive past the embassies and see the large number of persons of working age, of professional talent, etc., lining up to leave Jamaica, I wonder, this morning when I passed, and I knew we were coming to this place, I said to myself, if these people have interest in Jamaican enterprise, they have a stake in the country, which is hard to pull up.
Yeah, but I saw them too.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, Ronnie saw these people and don't know that it's money. They haven't going on vacation.
Oh, yeah, I doubt that.
It's money.
I would be glad if that were so, but let's
more
not
than
argue
half
that.
of them are seeking a visitor's
visa
to go
because
and look for them on.
Because prosperity has come. Thanks very much for that interpretation. This is a Bridge 99 FM. We'll soon come back. We're with the Stock Exchange today. Stay tuned. And today, Pernell Charles and myself are covering the exciting proceedings at the 19th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference put on by the Jamaica Stock Exchange and a host of partners, the drivers of capital from concept to growth. The students are here, the social investors are here, the major corporations and financial entities are here, the Caribbean people are here, and many, many from the diaspora as well. Stay tuned. This is the hub of business and business development in the country. And we welcome Kevin Powell. Grateful for you.
Thank you for having me, Sir
Yes.
Thwaites. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Manager of the Jamaica Stock Exchange e-campus. Well, no, just from the base. What is the e-campus, please?
Well, the e-campus...
You should have heard how Marlene Street Forest just let it flow off her tongue,
No, this is something that she's very passionate about,
Clearly. And she's
very passionate. In
and
2010, she was the visionary who thought about this idea of market education and strengthening the market through capacity building. And so in 2010, the e-campus was conceptualized and was implemented. We are the training arm of the Jamaica Stock Exchange e-campus because we take the business of educating the market about financial products and investment products very seriously. So we do capacity building and training of players in the financial service industry. So we have courses from workshop courses all the way up to a postgraduate diploma running in financial service management. We are an accredited institution by the University Council of Jamaica. and we take the business of financial literacy and education very seriously at the e-campus.
How do you function? Who do you go to? People in the companies?
So we go to, yes, all the players, listed companies, main market, junior market, and just general players within the financial sector. If you want to upskill and, train your staff, we offer that kind of training, customized, curated training for your staff.
Yes.
From financial products, investment products, data protection, for example. Last year, that's a buzzword now in the market space. So we train players in the market, workers who work in compliance departments, in data protection, anti-money laundering, information governance. Whatever the landscape of the financial system is encountering at the moment, we will provide those training needs for those products and services.
And they get benefits from this. They get stackable credentials.
Indeed, stackable. In fact, we are also CPD certified out of the UK. So you take our courses, professional development.
Really?
Right. Yes.
Really?
So you get take these courses, you get these credentials, stacking up on your professional hours. Very important.
You can go to the boss and say, I need more money because look at it. I'm more
that is the buzzword these days. Salary increases, compensation review.
Sure.
There you go.
In these times, by all means. But then, how many do you deal with? What has been the history of the e-campus? Is it taking bite? We haven't had as many listings recently as we had in the past.
Yes.
But do you still have a student body?
We do have a very, very thriving student body. There are courses which are more popular than other courses, as you can imagine. So, for example, young investors who want to learn more about the investment landscape will take our Caribbean Securities course. It's a 6 weeks course that teaches you, the ins and outs of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, how to trade, how to build your portfolio, how to maintain that portfolio, all of the things that you need to know about being a good investor and providing financial advice to people.
And
if
it's
you
not
so
a one-off
desire.
thing. You can do more.
You can do more courses. You can add. So we have a Caribbean Securities course. So you take that course, you're successful. You can move on to do our Advanced Securities course if you so desire. I was speaking to you earlier, Ronnie, about the postgraduate diploma in financial service management. It's an 18-month course that really gives you the rigor of the financial sector and all you need to know to be a part of the investment platform and to build that your place within the financial sector.
So ask your question now, sir. I know exactly what you're going to ask. Go ahead.
Well, you see, you're able to tell the world, and I'm talking about the Jamaican world now, you have some money.
Yes.
All you know is just to put it in bank. You don't know that there's a way of creating more other than X% interest.
Yes.
But if you try a thing, you might lose it. So you have the money, you're not doing anything because you don't have the confidence.
Yes.
This is where you
come. So I'm glad you made mention of that because one of my mantras at the college, at the e-campus is investing in learning and knowledge pays the best dividend. So you have the money, you don't know what to do with it. Come and take a course that teaches you how to build and manage your portfolio so that when you are now facing more money, you can know what to do with that funds so that you can, create more wealth for yourself.
Let me give you an example. There was news, almost tragic news, about a week or so ago. All of us must have seen it, of an elderly gentleman who had all his money, his life savings, in a particular institution.
Yes.
And he was scammed. The good part is that the institution gave him back all his money.
Let me stop you. When you told me, I went to investigate.
Yes.
And they said to me, it is all news.
Yeah.
Because the man has gotten back all his money.
And
He's,
that's good.
Well,
but the point I want to make is, when I heard that, I said to myself, what a pity he had all his money in that institution. Clearly you keep some money that is very liquid for your emergency needs. Yes, but if he had his money invested in equities, or in other securities, but we're talking about equities today, the likelihood of him being scammed or losing Yes, would not have been
Would not have been as great as
exactly.
it is, indeed.
And that, I think, is a point we want to make.
There
to
you
our
go.
people.
So,
Yeah. If they know what to do.
if they know what to
So,
do,
Kevin Powell,
which
let
is
me-
where we come in.
Yes,
So
let-
this if should be removed.
That's
Yes,
it.
we
You
are
should
removing
say-
that if, and
you
we're
should now
saying to
say,
everybody in
we
the
now
diaspora,
have-
everybody in the local market space, we have an institution in the Jamaica Stock Exchange e-campus that will be able to provide you with all your training needs so that you will not be scammed. You will know how to invest your money into different portfolio, into different equities and securities,
So,
that
Mr.
you
Powell,
can create
Mr.
more
Powell,
wealth.
who has drank from the cup of Dr. Marley in Street Forest for his passion and all of this, the point I think we want to make is when you're going to expand this, because it seems to me that it's not just the staff of companies that need it, but rather the public.
No, Ronnie, the public is our institution is available to John Public and Jane Public.
Yeah.
You can come and take a course at the Jamaica Stock
we would love
Exchange
to have
e-campus.
We would love to have you on this program or similar programs. In fact, talking to people in the diaspora
Yes.
and answering their questions and showing them why it is better for them in terms of secure investments and in terms of return on
Yes.
investments and in terms of a spirit of nationalism.
Yes.
Why they should be sending money to invest with brokers
There
and
you go.
companies here.
We would be
I heard
more
that
than
you
happy.
You said that your institution is available to them.
Yes.
And you're selling this, but you're not selling that they and their money should be available.
Indeed. No, we're
Yeah,
selling
so the man
e-campus
is
and we
out
want
there,
to- we
he's
want-
scared to come.
we
Yeah, but
want-
I've
we
heard that
want
you
them
know.
to come.
Yes, and to give him his due, I heard Minister, young gentleman, Mr. Terry Long,
Yes,
recently
Orlando.
promoting that
To invest in the-
Jamaican
in the- yes, economy.
economy, and the stock market is the most convenient. And where it is buttressed not just by a guess and spell operation or somebody tell you,
Yes.
but rather by an educational program.
There you go.
Then it seems to me you widen the
offering
possibility.
the kind of guidance that you know will be objective guidance and
Sure.
will be the transferable
Sure.
skills and knowledge that you can take when you're doing your
Yes,
your
that's-
investments in the economy.
That's great. You cost a lot of money though, Mr. Powell.
Boy, not really, because we know how things are, and we want to cater to everyone. So our courses are priced competitively.
Yes.
As I said, we have 1-day workshops, we have 6 weeks courses, we have an 18 months course.
All face to face, or you do
No,
blended courses?
our programs are offered primarily online. We have a robust learning management platform.
Excellent,
Even
excellent.
before COVID was a thing, the e-campus was in the space as a trendsetter in the online arena. So all our courses are offered online. We have asynchronous and synchronous delivery of our courses so that students can stay anywhere in the world.
And they can
such
ask you your
as-
questions?
Yeah, and they can ask you questions.
Very
They're
important.
these are live sessions.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of your success, because guess what? Talk nice, and it sound good.
Yes.
But are anybody getting? Anybody involved?
And tell us what you dream.
Tell us some of the success.
What you dream
Yes.
the e-campus to be in 10 years' time.
All right.
What's
So
the
let me
horizon?
answer those two-part questions. We have many students who have come. Like, for example, we have the postgraduate diploma that we offer at eCampus. We have had so many persons who had no interest at all or background in the financial services industry who would have taken our courses and or that program, would have been successful in that program and would have elevated themselves in the corporate ladder as a result of that, because of how hands-on our program is. We call it desk. We prepare desk-ready operants. So when at the end of the day, they go into an institution and are able to function. But also, going back to the question about now, where do we see ourselves? We see ourselves in the next 10 years really touching every region within the Caribbean space. We want to do regional expansion in the next 4 to 5 years at the eCampus, where we offer the financial products that we know in Jamaica we are good at. The
but
stock exchange is good at that.
Let me
and
end
offer
with you
that
with
to the Caribbean.
a little evangelism. The only way that we're going to get an inclusive economy in Jamaica, we don't have it now, we
Yes.
never have, is if more people feel that they can invest in the real economy and they can get returns and that they're safe.
Yes.
Uno, have that responsibility.
We do. We certainly do.
And that it is not a big man.
And we have a course. We have a course, Sir Charles, called the ABCs of investment. You see
I
what
like
we,
that.
so we title it
Yeah.
ABC for the common man. Simple. That we're gonna bring you up, show you how important investment is, and train you in what you need to
And
do.
you're going to train me
And we're going to train you.
so that I can know how
Be a
to
good
get
evangelist.
to run his standard.
Oh Lord! Wow,
goes on as
that
if
might
he-
take years of
Financial
training. That might
standard.
take years of training, doing a Sir Charles.
Oh, yeah?
Kevin Paul, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so very
You're
much,
doing
man.
good work.
You, man,
yes.
no
He
problem.
goes on
Thank
as
you.
if he's some
Good to see you,
tough-headed
man.
individual, you know, but there you are. Kevin
No problem.
Powell
Bless
is
you.
the manager of the Jamaica
you.
Stock Exchange E-Campus. This is an exciting program. We're on the Bridge 99 FM. This is a media house designed to educate and to inform and to entertain people in the Jamaican diaspora. We're happy to have all of you with us now and whenever you choose on the Jamaica Stock Exchanges conference that we're having today. And very importantly, to give you all the information that's required. Oh, what a pleasure this is. Hello, Mrs. Judith Ram-Logan. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much.
Yes, fellow counsel, attorney at law. And so I introduce you to the Honorable Colonel Charles. You see him glowing.
Yes.
Happy to hear.
Nice to meet you.
Manager for Corporate Services Institution at the Stock Exchange. This is marvelous. Judith used to be the Chief Executive Officer of the Company's Office.
Yes.
So you bring all of that experience now to
Yes.
the Stock Exchange.
To the stock exchange.
How does that sequence fit?
Well, what happened is that the stock exchange is the parent company for the Jamaica Central Securities Depository Limited and the Jamaica JCSD Trustee Services Limited.
What's that company? What's the Jamaica Central Securities Company?
Well, because now that there are no more share certificates, right?
yeah.
You have
People
the
need to know that.
dematerialization of shares, so you have no more share certificates. So they're held in a depository. Then all the shares issued by Jamaican companies on the stock exchange are held by the Central Securities Depository.
So how do I know if I have 100 shares in Grace or in...
You
or
can
whatever
inquire.
else?
You
And-
can
and
inquire.
You'll be able to tell me that
Well,
that's
the
on the
JCSD
register.
will be able to tell
Be
you.
able to say,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
fine. And
Yes.
that's a liaison and that's a connection, obviously.
Right. Well, actually, as I said, the trustee services. All right. Let us back up a little bit. So, the Companies Act was amended, as well as the Trust and Corporate Services Providers Act was implemented early last year. So that all company secretaries or all persons offering company secretarial services had to be registered, had to be licensed. Yes, right. It has to do with the government's drive against money laundering and counterterrorism financing, right? So, and to counter terrorism financing.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting because that obviously means that there's such a threat. That we have to balance that by having
Right.
these kinds
Yes.
of protective mechanisms of licensing.
So what the Financial Action Task Force found was that when it comes to money laundering and terrorism financing, companies were used, right, as a mechanism to move money around.
Okay.
So that is why. So the Companies Act was amended so that companies had to say who their beneficial owners were. Not only their legal owners, but their beneficial owners. And then the Trust and Corporate Services Providers Act was implemented to ensure that that persons who provide corporate secretarial services are licensed.
Okay, let's get that clear then. So, having a company with a Abyssinia Limited or Ethiopia Trading or something like that, that's no longer possible. You can name it that, but you're going to have to you're going to have to register who are the beneficial owners.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very important.
Right.
Yes, because
who are the persons who call the shots, not
Yes.
just the who own the shares,
Uh-huh.
but the persons who call the shots.
and they have to keep that up to date.
Yes, they
Yes.
have to keep it up to date. They
That's
have
a
to.
very modern reform, and that's very
Yes.
necessary.
Yes.
I'd like to know who represent those persons. The
Wait.
bulk of those persons.
Who represents them?
represent them?
They
You know,
represent
who
themselves.
speak for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the bulk of the persons registered, bulk of companies registered in Jamaica
Yes.
are small private companies,
Yes.
right? So they, so what the government is saying for all those companies, right? You need to tell us not only who your legal shareholders are, or but who really the persons behind those legal shareholders, if you have shares. If you don't have shares, the persons who really run the company, the persons who direct the operations of the company.
Can I evade that by saying, okay, my company is Thwaites Limited, and the persons who are behind it are Rosebud Limited, or do I have to have
No,
a
have to
live
drill
human
right
beings?
down to a human being.
Human being,
Yes.
with an address traceable,
Yes.
etc. No,
Identification,
okay.
so
Now,
you know
some
that this
people-
person is real.
Judy, some people will think of this as intrusive, but actually it's a modern reform which is very protective, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes. How does the stock exchange manage this? Because there are a variety of people investing.
Right.
What do they have to disclose?
Well, the stock exchange requires that the shareholders, right? They have to be human. They have to provide identification,
Yeah.
right? So that you know that this person, Judith Ramlogan, is a real person,
Yeah.
right, and not just a facade.
And when I go through a brokerage company or an investment house, there's similar requirements?
No, yes, the customer due diligence.
Yeah.
Know your customer, so you have to provide that so that everybody who buys a share has to have a TRN if they're Jamaican,
Yes.
some kind of ID, right? Perhaps proof of address as well.
No,
Yes.
it seems to me that our people need to understand this and not to see it as being a fearsome imposition,
Yes.
but rather as something which is protection for
Yes.
them and
Right.
indeed for the integrity of the business and
Right.
and the structures. Eh?
Yes.
Yes.
And I don't know if you saw in the newspaper that the company's office had been removing persons because they did not removing companies because they did not file their beneficial ownership information. Right.
So that's very important.
Yes.
And people should see this as being a modern necessity, given the international climate and the fact that unfortunately there are plenty of people who take advantage and use it for wrong purposes.
Right.
Eh? So that's important. Do you see that? I mean, how do you see it, sir?
What she has
Good
said
protection.
is a line.
I did not know the detail of it.
Yes, right? Because what you have just done is invite others, like myself, who would be critical of it because of the lack of information.
Yeah.
And security, as Rani has said. When a man has some money, it work hard for it. We don't want to give it away as somebody's coming from him. So once you get properly advised that this is a way to develop more rather than to lose all, you have him on board.
Judith, we're talking principally to people in the diaspora. And I'm anxious that they understand what it is. We want to encourage them to invest, obviously. The stock exchange is one very important platform for them to do so. But they want to be able to do so in a way that isn't cluttered, isn't intrusive, but at the same time is protective.
Right.
Can you give us that insurance? Is that what this is all about that you've been telling us?
what the service that we're offering, we're offering corporate secretarial services. So anything having to do with your company being compliant with the laws and regulations, that is what we're offering. So we're offering compliance with your statutory obligations.
Great.
So if you want to file your annual returns, you can come to us. Nowadays, you cannot file an annual return without filing a beneficial ownership return. Right?
Yes.
So you have to do that. If you want us to prepare any change documents, so you've changed your directors, appointed new ones, you change your company's, your corporate secretary, or you change your registered office, we can do that as well for you.
Good.
Right? If you want a letter of good standing from the company's office, we can get that done. If you want to incorporate your company, we can do that as well.
Yeah.
Right? We are also offering assistance with your board and your subscriber meetings. right? Yes.
Yes, that's
So we can
important.
guide you. We can guide you with that.
And
If
this
you-
is for any kind of company?
Yes, any kind of
Okay.
company. No, I should tell you that, well, you know, the stock exchange deals with large public companies, but this service is for any kind of
But
company.
you have a junior market too, don't you?
Right, yes.
There's a different
But this is for
dimension.
also for private companies.
of course.
Anybody who needs.
Really? No,
Yes.
that's good. That's a-
because the managing director,
Yes.
her vision is that, you know, we will help small companies who have aspirations of one day
Absolutely.
becoming public.
And if they are compliant and learn and practice that, then they
Yes.
are more likely to be able to,
Right.
be ready
Yes.
to go public at some
yes,
stage. eh?
yes, yes.
But Miss, I know the question everybody is listening and asking: Are you very dear? You cost so much. I can't afford you. It's just a little company I have, you know, ma'am.
No, we're not expensive at all, right? We're not expensive, but you know, so the fees we charge are really to cover our costs, right? So we're not expensive, but come talk. You can call us, right? And we can have a discussion about what you can afford, as well as, you know, yeah.
No, that's very important because. But yes, go ahead.
We can call you,
Yes.
but
yes.
you didn't tell us how to call you.
Okay, so you can call me, Judith Ramlogan, at
Yes.
967-3271, extension 2480, right? Or just call the switchboard, right? And they will put you on to me.
967-327.
3271,
Extension
extension
2480.
248, right?
Good, very important.
Right.
We will
Yes.
disseminate that.
Right.
And
yes.
you can get in touch with the stock exchange and say you want
Yes.
company services.
Right.
And the big thing is not just for listed companies.
Right.
It is for any company.
Any
And-
company.
And this again is a broadening and a deepening at the same time of corporate culture in Jamaica, which is good for the economy, Pernell.
Yes.
Yes, and what it does is it presents a more inclusive opportunity where people have felt corporate secretary, that's not for me.
Yes.
What can I fill out this form and I probably do it wrongly? Give it to Mrs. Ramlogan when she was at company's office and it doesn't quite
it
fit.
will be rejected.
Yes.
Yes.
So therefore, this is an opportunity now to add quality to business to business life, and that's good for
Right.
us.
And I just want to
Please
put
tell us.
one more thing is that, you know, so private companies would feel, as you say, oh, this corporate secretarial business is not for me. I can do it on my own. But now the Companies Office is becoming very, very stringent about enforcing the new rules about your beneficial ownership information.
Sure.
And, you know, if you don't comply, there are harsh penalties.
Yes.
Very
So
harsh.
it's better to make the plunge, make the investment in
Yes.
doing it right, and that opens all kinds of doors for your banking,
Yes.
with confidence of your shareholders,
Yes.
your creditors,
Yes.
and
It has financial
regulatory
implications.
Obviously does.
Yes.
What a nice, glad to know. Didn't know it existed. Bless you. Thank you.
All
Nice to see
right.
you again.
Thank you so
Good.
much.
This
Nice
is
to
Judith
meet you.
Ramlogan, is manager of corporate services unit at the Jamaica Stock Exchange. It's coming close to 2:00 in the afternoon, and time for us to conclude our presence and our explication today of all that has gone on, all that is going on yesterday, today, and tomorrow at the 19th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference of the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Daddy, I just want to say to the bridge,
Yeah.
I think this is a fantastic way of advising,
Yeah, and serving more people in the
informing,
diaspora.
and serving our people right across the world.
Yes,
Right? This is really bridging them back into Jamaica.
yes. And
Not only in a family way, but in investment.
yes, and that's very good. May I thank everybody who has made this program possible. Thanks to you, Shauna. Thanks to Tricia. Thanks to Jeff and Cabell and everyone else. We're on the Bridge 99 FM. This is the Public Eye, Pernell Charles and myself, wishing you good fortune until next Wednesday when we join you again. Till then, take care.